Hello and welcome back again to Invest for the Future for a short video on the CommSec Pocket App. Now, it's not surprising that a large player would enter the space occupied currently by services such as RAIZ and Spaceship Voyager. I won't go through how the app works as there are other videos on YouTube that go through that. I will, however, offer you a brief comparative analysis of their product measured against RAIZ and Spaceship Voyager. This analysis looks at, say, a late teenager starting out on their investment journey, wanting to make regular contributions into an ETF type structure. Of course, the important metrics that need to be considered are the likely return from the ETF and the fees that are associated with entering and exiting that particular ETF. So let's look at the example of someone wanting to invest, say, $50 per week, and we'll see how they fare over a 1 year period. So over to the desktop. So here we have a spreadsheet looking at the returns that you get over 1 year from the three pocket type apps, Spaceship, RAIZ and CommSec, if you're going to be investing $50 every week for a period of 52 weeks. I've just hidden these rows here so that we can fit it all onto one screen. Spaceship have advertised at the end of May, I think it was, that their return for the previous 12 months was 11.7%. So if that was the case, then this sort of investment plan would have returned you around about $155 of profit over that 12-month period. Spaceship have no fees, so therefore you keep all of that. Now, if you use the RAIZ app, and speaking of RAIZ, they've actually raised their fees recently. Used to be $1.25 a month, now it's $2.50 a month. So over a 12-month period, you're going to have $30 worth of fees. The returns, of course, because we've got the same percentage applied, it's still $155, but take away 30 leaves you only $125 of gain for the year. Now, if you use this approach using the CommSec Pocket App, they're going to charge you $2 brokerage every time you make a deposit of $50. And so therefore, there's a significant amount of brokerage that needs to be taken into account, and your net return is only $51. So if you've come up with this idea that you're a late teenager and you've got a bit of a part-time job and you want to start your investment journey, this really is not the way to go, I believe. However, these results up here, 11.7%, as the return for each of these is not guaranteed. And in fact, CommSec have 7 options, and some of them in the last 12 months have returned more than that, and some have returned less. The same thing probably applies to RAIZ, although I don't actually have data handy to say what their 6 ETFs have actually returned, but you could go and check that out. All I'm saying is there are other options than just getting an 11.7% return, which is what Spaceship had been returning. Mind you, the market's been up lately in the last couple of months, so I suspect that the Spaceship return is currently higher than 11.7%. But we're just using these for comparative purposes. Now, what would have you had to get at RAIZ or at CommSec if you wanted to match this return from Spaceship? Well, as it turns out, you would need to get an ETF that delivers 14%. So you get higher returns, but the $30 brokerage takes it back down to $155. And if you're investing in CommSec, you would need to get a return of 19.6% from the ETF. And I don't believe any of their ETFs actually deliver or have delivered that sort of return in the last 12 months. So is there another strategy that you could use with CommSec that might get you along the way? Well, we could always go and look at investing on a monthly basis. Just spread that out a little bit. So save up your money for a month and invest $216.67. Brokerage is still only $2, and you do that for 11 months, and then we've now got this $216 just about to be invested in the fund. The return's a bit less because we waited for a month to begin our investment, but much better result. Only $22 of brokerage, so you get $117 of growth out of your investment. If you think, well, maybe what if I waited a bit longer and I save up for 3 months, then the return is not as good. So you can have a look at that if you like over a longer period of time. Just pause the video. I guess what we've got here is maybe a sort of a sweet spot for the CommSec app of perhaps saving up your money a little bit and then investing on a monthly basis so that your brokerage costs are reduced. So there we go. There's the three options for you. Spaceship, RAIZ and CommSec. If you're investing in ETFs which can deliver the same return in any of these, then Spaceship is the best, RAIZ next, and CommSec least. But as I said, there are a number of options and you need to choose which ones you want to go into. Of course, once your money is in the ETF, then your performance depends absolutely on how the ETF performs. So if the ETF in CommSec outperforms the ETFs in RAIZ or Spaceship Voyager in the future, then those initial brokerage costs will be quickly recovered. I guess the decision that needs to be made is to what extent does the reputation of CommSec versus RAIZ versus Spaceship need to be taken into account. That, of course, is a personal decision. Now, if you're planning on going down the path of these pocket apps, I think the most important decision is which ETF do you think is going to give the best return for the least amount of risk. That means you will need to research what the ETFs are trying to track and do you think those areas have a bright future. So we'll leave it there for today, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be available for your viewing pleasure tomorrow. Until then though, as always, I hope you keep very well.